first things you can try to get in is like a professional certification. Have you done like a CMA or ICA, the legacy
No,
A course?
actually, sir, after completing my graduation, I did 1 year diploma in computer applications.
Okay.
That was necessary for knowing the basics of computer knowledge and all the languages that we use in Java and C++. So it was very helpful for managing the computer related things. That's why.
Right. Like I think, Sharik, this is like a really good profile which has a lot of variable experience. From handling accounts, you have handled inventory. So
Yes.
basically, I think that you can work in budgeting and management control as well. So
Yes, sir.
if once you like decide geographic area which you want to work in, then we can shortlist the colleges and probably get ahead with the applications, because I think
Yeah,
if
mostly, sir, sorry to interrupt. So
Mhm.
mostly
Yes, yes.
right now, I'm looking for masters in, international business uh,
Okay.
because I think international business, I can get all these opportunities. Like I can be in a budgeting profile, I can be in an accounting profile, or I can be in an inventory profile of
Right,
international.
right, right.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, that is what is in my mind right now, international business. Or if there are other opportunities, and but that should be related to management, business management. Yeah.
Okay, listen. You can fill up the profile evaluation form that Sashwat will probably send you, and then we can probably schedule a separate time wherein we can discuss your case in depth and discuss the kind of opportunities that
uh,
we can
yes,
pursue.
sir.
Right?
Also I have appeared in IELTS exam also. And
This year.
yeah, it was my first attempt. And to be frank with you, I was not knowing how to appear, how to approach the IELTS exam. Because in Jammu and Kashmir, I'm from Kashmir, people don't know what's IELTS.
Mhm.
So what are the approaches that we need to do in giving IELTS exam? So I was not knowing anything. Still, I scored 6 out of band of 6 in my first try, and that was 1 month before.
Okay. All
And
the sections were above 6.
no, sir, only I got a listening problem, that was 5. Yeah, other
Okay.
than listening, all were 6. In fact, speaking was 6.5, reading was 6, and writing was 6. But
Okay.
this listening was 5. And yesterday I gave another try, so because I wanted to increase the overall
Right.
band of my IELTS. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yesterday I appeared also.
yeah, so I'm sure, pretty sure that since the time I've heard you speaking, I'm pretty sure that you have improved your score. So
Yes.
once
So
we
yeah.
get a new score, we
Yeah.
can definitely work on this. I think, Sashwat, can we start now?
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on MIM. So, we are going through a webinar series by Point Admins, where we're asking our mentors to guide all the students, to take proper career decisions and to choose a career where they can build a wonderful future for them. And in this regard, this week we have with us Mr. Omkar Gurav, who has been connected with us for a very long time and also a student at EDIC. And we have Mr. Saurabh Mahanti, who has been a counselor to the students who are planning to go for MIM. And currently, we're streaming live on YouTube as well. So ask your friends to tune in and stream in, and you can join the call as well. We're spamming the links all over on all our social media. So you can join the call to be part of this webinar. So welcome Omkar and welcome Saurabh to the webinar. And it is a pleasure to host you guys. And the stage is all yours. I think you can go ahead and start interacting with students and get them going.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Sashwat. Hi, Omkar. Long time.
Saurabh, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
You're right in France?
Yes, I'm currently in Paris. I'm in my internship. It's shit weather, so I hope it's better in India.
Yeah.
Yes.
So okay, let's start. So just to kick start this webinar, let's just start off with a very basic question about MIM. What is MIM, right? And then we can. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you're audible.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's just start off with what is MIM and how has been your journey till now?
Okay, so I think Saurav's video is blocked, but okay. So speaking about MIM, MIM stands for Master in Management, and it is basically an intermediate between a bachelor's in management and doing an MBA. So basically, what you are doing at Masters in Management is that you are trying to transition into management, or you are trying to get into entry level management roles. So it is like more in depth theoretical education, whereas MBA is a bit more toned towards audiences which have a bit of experience and want to go toward higher management roles. So my experience basically is in various courses. So after doing my bachelor's in computer science, I was in the Indian Army for a year, and due to a training injury, I kind of had to redesign my career. So I found that Masters in Management was the perfect role for to do this, because when you go for an MBA, you are competing with people who have at least 4 to 5 years of experience when you are applying to MBAs outside of India. And therein, if your experience is not good enough, then how do you make your profile stand out is by showcasing on your entire profile. So that is what I basically liked about Master in Management. Apart from just focusing on your academics, they also consider the kind of activities you have done, and it gives you a good overview of the management subjects. It gives you a kind of flexibility in choosing your pathway. For example, at EdTech, I joined the Master in Management program, but now I'm trying to do my second master's in international accounting and finance, which is a very difficult shift to make, but I was able to do that. I was able to secure internships in international accounting. So this kind of flexibility and the kind of ground level knowledge that Masters in Management provides is what is strategic to the course, and there are economic and ROI advantages as well.
Okay, yeah, sorry, yeah, got it. Okay, so let's just start off with your journey. So it has been probably a couple of years you have been in France, right? And you might
Right.
have also interacted with a lot of international students. So
Yes,
how has been your journey till now in this space?
definitely. My video is very visible, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so at in France, it has been a really international experience wherein you have students coming from all over Europe and Asia. Let us say the students from North America are not that much, but we do have students from South America. So we have this huge cultural pot of students speaking various different languages from various different backgrounds, and we have this people from Lebanon, people from Middle East, people from Brazil, and everyone has a very different experience. So, for example, when we are talking about ESG, so you get to listen to a lot of sides of the story. So it's fun and it's very enlightening. And when you go for employment in international MNCs, this is where your experience with international students and interactions with them counts.
Perfect. Got it. Okay. So right now you are in EdTech, right? So
Yes,
you might have also interacted with other B school in candidates, right? For maybe competitions or maybe some other debating or maybe just for networking for sake, right? So did you happen to get a certain uh, maybe similar traits or maybe a similar symptoms of profile of how does the universities or which universities kind of focus on which traits of a candidate's profile? Do you have any like suggestions or opinion on that?
Definitely. So I have friends who are pursuing an MBA in Australia. I have friends who are pursued their MBA in US, in Canada, and I have this circle of friends which I gained by working with foreign admits, as well as my previous circle, which are doing masters across Europe in Sweden, Germany, Ireland, UK. So I kind of got to know a lot of people who are in similar courses and the kind of work they are doing after passing out. So basically, what I found out is that people in master in management are students who are either going to masters in management immediately after graduation in the same field, or they have graduated from engineering and then they're trying to figure out what they want to do with their life. They have worked 2 years, they are maybe not happy with the employment they were getting. They want more growth perspectives, they want to have an international experience, and that is when they transition into master in management. And the kind of profile the schools look for is the schools look for a student who has vision, a student who can connect his past education and experiences with the program and has a very good concrete plan that what are the skills he'll learn at the program, and then build a career out of it. Basically, the school wants to develop successful alumni. So
Right.
that is what it searches in the students. And apart from this, obviously there are entry criteria, like they will look at the tier of your college, the profile, the kind of entrance exams you gave, how much did you score in it, other achievements and all.
Correct. So, okay, as we are going deep dive into the application process right now, so the first phase I would say of the application process is shortlisting, right? So we have, I guess you also might have got a lot of candidates who are confused which of the universities they should take. They have certain aspirations, but they're not sure whether they can get admitted to that kind of university or not. So how should a candidate assess their profile by themselves for any university or for any courses?
Right. So, what I think is, firstly, the candidate should stop self-doubting. Like even I went through the same when I was thinking about the tier of my college and the tier of the college I wanted to get into. I thought that okay, this is something which is way out of my league, and this is not some kind of transition I can do. And basically, you kind of self-reject, and you think that this is not possible. So that is the first thing the person needs to stop doing, and look at your CV from a recruiter's perspective. Now, the person you will be sending your application to will only read the paper. He'll only believe what you will say. So, how you project yourself, what you highlight out of it, is what will develop your profile. And apart from this, I would encourage students to learn a bit about their financial situation. So, mostly in India, it is like you think that abroad education is really expensive and is not a risk you should take early in your career. Basically, people are scared of debt. So like there is the kind of self education that needs to be done. You need to read out, for example, like students who do an masters in Ireland, they can get their masters in 17 to 18 lakhs, but they can also reduce their cost of education by working part time, and they can earn part time around 6 to 700 euros a month. So if you look at it from a very cost valuation perspective, then you can discount the salary you can get, and basically the kind of loans you take if you are ready to work outside. If you do an MBA abroad and then you work abroad, then in general you are able to pay out your degree in 3 to 4 years maximum.
Got it. Got it. Perfect. So, okay. Uh, okay. You also might have gotten. Let's just bits. Debunk certain myths, right? So
Sure.
let's just take some parameters and then let's debate on that note. The first, probably the most I would say common myth, or I would say questions which we normally get is, "Sir, I have low academics. I have low GPA. What I'm supposed to do? Can I get good universities or not?"
Definitely. So see, low academics is a kind of thing that majority of the students suffer from. Not even all the professors are like top notch throughout. You do something in your life, it differentiates you at some point. It cannot be that you have been studying and you have been doing different activities in for 25 years and you have not done anything worthwhile. Maybe you yourself value it less. So that is where a mentor comes in. He is able to look at your profile from a bird's eye view, and he is able to show that, okay, these are the experiences you have, and this is how you should project them. So projection is what is very important. For example, one of our students was just saying that he worked as an accountant in a school. So so basically, this can be projected in different ways as having a real ground experience and working with a social institution and also supporting his family. So it is how you project it.
Correct.
So rather than just being burdened by your academic score, you should, like, this is the advantage we have, right, when we are applying abroad, that they are looking at your whole profile. So
Yes.
you don't have to just be limited by your scores.
Correct. Absolutely. So I can completely, I would say, relate. I would say, agree to your point that a lot of students are actually very much confused about their GPA. There's another additional point which I would like to add also, because that is kind of a secondary question which we normally get is, sir, my university highest score is 7 CGPA and I've gotten 6.8 CGPA. But on a global note, that is kind of a very low, right? So
Right.
what should I do about that? So probably there is a relative scaling, right, which we normally send to universities. So could you please like show some light on that note also?
Like highlighting or compensating on your weak points. That is basically. So basically, see, if a product is in the market, if it is low price, then basically we compromise on the quality a bit. Then you try to mass produce it. And if there is a luxury product, we try to keep high margins but set it low. It is very similar to when you are trying to promote your own profile. Basically, when you're trying to convince a business school to take you, you are trying to sell yourself as a very successful alumni and a valuable product. So if you have low academic scores, if you have some kind of shortcomings in your profile, that is where you try to compensate it. You compensate it by real life experiences, internships, some certifications that you have done, some volunteering work you have done, any kind of international experience that you did, and maybe sports. So there are variable number of things that international universities consider, and they give scholarships based on them as well.
Right. Another additional point is, so universities take into account the relative scoring. For example, if your university's highest score is a, let's say, 8 CGPA and you have gotten a 7 CGPA, so maybe you might be coming at the top 20, top 30, right? Certain universities do kind of give low scoring or maybe have kind of a very scrutinizing marking evaluation system. So do not have that thing in your mind that I have low GPA, my university does not give me marks, and all sort of that queries should not be a problem when you're applying for abroad universities, because university always look into relative scoring or relative marks. Now, going to the second question about, as we are done with academics, now next question is extracurriculars. So we have gotten students who are very academically brilliant but with no extracurriculars, or maybe an average profile with no extracurriculars. So maybe you can show some light on certain aspects. Maybe I can also add some points on what avenues they can look at in order to build their profile, or maybe build their strengths basically upon their weaknesses.
Right. So firstly, you have to understand that master in management is not a very academically intensive course. It is trying to build you for a career in business wherein you have to solve real world problems. You have to understand real world companies, their issues, and then come up with solutions for them. So having a really good research publications, or having really good projects will only be able to show that you have a good learning potential, but it does not speak to your business acumen. For example, you can have students who did not score very well, but they maybe founded a startup. They maybe had some huge fundraising activity, and maybe they were leaders at their college festivals. They were able to take leadership positions. So this will be very valued when you are studying business, because basically you need people who can lead, who are able to learn. And if you are able to transition from one industry to another, that is valued as well. So that is
Absolutely.
what happened in my case as well. They were impressed by the fact that I was able to go from computer science into defense, then sales, and then come back into finance. So your transitioning property, your adaptability, and the kind of work you have done is valued.
Correct. So that term which you use, adaptability. So the because we do get students who wants to change their fields, right? Or if they have already changed the fields and want to change again. So there are two notions to it. One is this person is uh, this person is not that stable. Another notion being that that person is very adaptable to whatever he or she likes, right?
Right.
So that is how probably how we can portray, or normally how we should portray in our SOPs and essays, which might reflect upon our life goals or future goals, or maybe our previous activities upon which we have our ambitions eyed on,
Exactly.
right?
And even the master in management course is like, it gives you a lot of flexibility. For example, the ESCP program, you can decide when you want to do internships, how you want to do a work study, or you want to focus on exchanges. So you have dual degree programs. So the program itself is valuing flexibility. So it all depends on the projection, as you said.
Correct, absolutely. So, okay, now going forward, as we are mostly done with the common general questions or myths which general students have, going forward, let's talk about SOPs or LOAs or resume, right? So in SOPs, generally a lot of students struggle, right? So, and again, there is a notion in on probably on the internet, I would say, of a template based SOP, right? So
Right.
so how should a student construct or structure the SOPs in the own original authentic way?
Definitely. So, what I did for my SOP was, I thought that I was trying to get funding from someone for my education. So I kind of tried to explain the person why I need this education, how am I qualified to go for this education, and basically what I'll do with it. These are the basic three parts. So what you start is by telling your own story, that what have you done till your graduation, what activities you have done, what are the kind of highlights. It is like in that entire 1000 to 1500 words, you are trying to promote yourself. Now this person has not met you, he does not know anything about you. So apart from your CV, he has just read your credentials. So this is where you can put a humane touch. This is wherein you can write about the struggles you have gone through, the kind of difficulties that you have overcome, the kind of some incident wherein you were able to show a lot of leadership and initiative. This is where you put in all that, and then overall, then you connect it with the school's program. Now it is very essential that we personalize the SOP. Now it is like convincing someone to hire you. It is like you need to show that you have uh, alignment with the company's goal, you have alignment with the program, and that is where you can go through the various pathways in that school. You can connect with how you will use it and why you think that this pathway is great for you. For example, the edHEC pathway was very good for me because I did not have a very solid experience before joining master in management. So 1 year of gap year gives me a strong foothold in Europe to build my profile in one course, and then kind of do my second master's. So these are the kind of plans you make looking at the college profile. And then finally, you wrap it up saying that this is why I like the program, this is how I'm good, and this is how I will contribute to the program. How you will be an addition to the class, and how you will be an ideal student and basically be an ideal alumni later on.
Perfect. It's like what value are you like
Exactly.
putting forward upon the admissions table? Basically, what kind of alum would you be after graduating, and what kind of a contribution can you give back to the school? Right? Absolutely, well structured and well answered, Omkar. So, as we are now done with applications, let's now go to the more tangible aspects, which is called finances, right? So
Mhm.
everybody is worried about finances. Everybody is worried about COVID scenario as well, because A lot of people again are very much probably skeptical about the new variant, right? So let's talk about first about some finances, some probably some numbers which a student can keep like can kind of have that number in their mind when they're planning for abroad studies, and like this kind of range is what I can expect that my expenses would be, right? And secondly, about how should we overcome that, maybe from certain grants, scholarships, part-time jobs, what is the approximate number of earning potential one can expect?
So if you look at the current market and COVID, there are two perspectives. You can be very pessimistic that, okay, the world is going to end, I don't have to do anything. And the other perspective is that there are a lot of problems and there are new solutions coming. So basically, there are new markets being created. So you have a no ocean perspective and a blue ocean perspective. So if you look at the blue ocean perspective, there are a lot of new fields that are opening up, like life sciences. You have cryptocurrencies, you have alternative investment strategies like NFTs. So if you have like a very broad perspective, you see that the markets are not falling. The markets are fluctuating, but the share market has been at an all-time high. The VC activity has been an all-time high. You have huge investment funds investing in startups. So basically, if you personally sit in a shell and think that, okay, the world is going bad, you don't know anything. If you read a bit about opportunities happening outside, you just have to adapt. You just have to find out wherein you fit in the whole story, wherein you can put your talents and gain some kind of educative edge to kind of secure your place in the future. Because if you have a very VUCA environment going on, very volatile environment going on, that is where you upskill and kind of position yourself. So rather than just staying with the current qualifications, and investment in yourself will always pay out. And to be honest, with the inflation going on, taking debt right now makes sense.
Got it. And what would be the approximate range of expenses a student can expect,
Right.
including fees and your accommodation, lodging?
Definitely. So now, if you talk about expenses, you have to be really particular. For example, if I tell someone that, okay, you're going to require 50 lakhs for doing a master's, he'll straight away say, no, I cannot afford that. But when you look at the whole picture, you say that, okay, these are the tuition fees that you have to pay. You can pay them in 3 years. Then while you are doing your education, you have this much dollars of monthly expense, and you can cover this much of them in part-time. For example, I am doing my master's in edX, so my tuition fee is around 40,000 euros. My monthly expense depends on the city. When I used to stay in Turkey, it was around 600 euros, because I used to stay in a Kraus residence. So Kraus residence is something which is sponsored by the French government. And right now, when I stay in Paris, my rent itself is around 600 euros. So the living expense goes to around 900 euros. But then I offset it by the internship I get. So this is how you actually plan financially. You cannot just look at the whole figure. Like, this is the kind of question I don't like people asking. They're like, okay, this is the bulk amount that we spend, and how much will we get in return? So if you ask me about returns, whatever amount you're spending to study abroad, even if it is really high, if your degree is something that gets you a job in the in that market, then definitely, if you work in that country 3 to 4 years, you will repay it. Like, if you work in Australia, you work in US, you work in Europe, it is all right. If you earn in currencies which are valued way higher than rupees, you can always pay it back way fast. So basically,
Right.
what is the issue is that how to get a loan or how to finance it. And that is where maybe we can take the next segment.
Yeah, absolutely. So financing, obviously, we have loans. Then again, we have certain other people who do not want to take loans, but they rather want to fund that child's education all by themselves, right? So again, probably that would be very much particular as per se regarding loans, because again, that would depend upon candidates case to case basis, right?
True.
So let's skip to the loans part and let's go to the probably certain honest truths, because there are
Right.
certain truths or certain things which many people do not talk about. The
Mhm.
first thing is people have a very rosy picture of a student going abroad or studying abroad, right?
Okay.
So could you please show, I mean, tell something about that, about how has been your day-to-day activity or day-to-day life of an international student, of maybe, or maybe a student who's doing an internship or maybe a job,
Right,
right?
right, right. So it's not all. If you judge your abroad education by Instagram stories, you're in a very bad place. So you basically need to realize that you will be staying alone. You have to firstly be able to deal with loneliness and have being very motivated throughout the process. You cannot just go to US and then say after 6 months that I'm missing home. You cannot afford that trip. So you have to be very motivated to do this degree, and you have to be able to deal with all sort of emotional, medical, financial problems that you will face. And that requires a kind of maturity that is sometimes reflected in your SOP as well. So basically, it is like you are going to a different country. You have to absorb the legal procedures first of all. Then you have to make sure that you understand the kind of benefits you get. Like if you come to France, you have to know that social security is free. You get your vaccines for free. You mostly get your medical checkups free, but you also have to take a mutual to like cover more expenses. And then you, if you want to do part time, then you have to also figure out whether you speak the language in that country. For example, you come to France, you cannot work part time if you don't speak French. That's very difficult. So these are the kind of truths that not everybody speaks about. And also the kind of salary range that is shown in surveys, that is not always the ground reality. That is an average. An average means there are numbers below it, and there might be some 2 3 numbers which are very above. So you cannot go by saying that okay, this is a really high paying course and I'll go there and I'll get it. What you need to study is the kind of market you're going into, the kind of education that you are getting. Like for example, if you are coming to France, or if you're going to Ireland, you will see that a college is like ranked very low in the world rankings. But in that country's economy, it doesn't matter much, because when you go to study in one country, you will be getting a work rate in that country itself. It is very uncommon for people to study in one country and then go to work in other. It is in very exceptional cases and very adaptable cases, or maybe you have some kind of connections which sponsor you. But basically, it is like a straight, you work in one country, like you study in one country and you work in the same. So you kind of have to tune in your education to the market.
Correct.
And also you need to learn cooking and taking care of yourself.
That is probably, that is one of the very important points.
Right. And the first thing I faced in France was that you don't get whole wheat atta here. So you just get refined flour, maida. And the good thing I did, I was just adapted to bread. Like I didn't try to make chapatis or puris or anything. I said that, okay, in France, everybody is eating bread. They're staying healthy. So I can stay too. So you just go to a place and you adapt.
Correct. No, even some of our mentors from US also used to, though there are a lot of Indian shops available, but still, so you cannot basically go and eat outside all the time. You have to cook, and it again depends upon what kind of ingredients are available in order to cook. So in US probably they make something called tortillas, I
Right, right,
believe.
right, right.
So it again depends upon which kind of country you go and which kind of cuisine you have, you can eat. So even some of them, probably students also were a part of family, like they some, yes, in some countries or in some places they kind of host you to stay, like stay in their house for maybe a year, for 6 months, and you can eat the dinner, lunch with your family, with their family and all of that. So certain mentors have shared the experience of eating a very different kind of cuisines and adapting to that, because you have no other option.
Yeah,
So
and it's cheaper.
cheaper, correct.
It's cheaper, and it's basically after you get used to it, you get fulfilled by eating pasta. It's all right. You don't need chapati, rice, and three kind of vegetables every day. And one of the things I don't really like about students is that they go to study abroad, and even in abroad, they're staying in a kind of mini India. So you have gone outside to gain an international experience. Try to go out of your comfort zone. Try to explore different cultures. Go have Thai food with Thai people. You don't understand anything, but maybe you like it. And that
Correct.
is what abroad education is, that you cannot just be in your comfort zone. You have to grow yourself by interacting with different people.
Correct. Perfect. So I believe we have told certain very honest truths about being an international student, at least in France. So
Right.
I hope this has been quite insightful for our attendees. So let's just go for our Q&A as well. Guys, if you have any questions, any specific questions, please feel free to shoot, and we would be happy to take that up. And yes, please share your feedback as well. Probably Shashwat will be sharing a feedback link, and do share your feedbacks. Do share any additional questions which you which you would like to have in successive webinars. We would definitely take that into account as well.
In Sashwat, if you have any questions, you can definitely shoot them.
Yeah. Yes, actually, I was listening to all of this and it was really insightful. So one of the questions which everyone has is, we have some of the top institutes in the country, right? In terms of IIM, Extracurriculars, SPJ, and some of them are there in top 50 world rankings. So some of them are there in top. So if a person who is, when finance is not a problem and he has done well in his CAT, then is it worthwhile still, to explore GMAT and go for any foreign universities?
Now, this completely depends on the individual. Now, if the person wants to have like a life in India, wants to work in India, then definitely there is nothing better than IIMs. Even if you do an MBA abroad, even if you do a master's abroad, IIMs will be always valued more in India. So there is no escaping it. So if you want to work in India, you want to have a career growth in India, then definitely go for IIMs. There is no double questioning that. But if your goal is to maybe do some exchanges, explore your opportunities abroad, you want to settle abroad, or maybe you want to like travel, explore different cultures, and maybe then come back, then abroad education is a bit more lucrative. And also, if you are like planning to explore some different fields which are not taught in India, then also it can be really good. For example, I stay in south of France, so there are a lot of PhD students around. So these students work on some equipments which are not available in India. So that can also be a different perspective, that maybe you want to learn something different which is not available, or maybe you didn't do that well in CAT. Not like to be honest, even if you do well in CAT, then you have a kind of shortlisting. You have a huge process that you have to go through. Even if you like get 99 percentile in CAT and then you have bad scores in your 12th or your degree, then your chances are hurt in a lot of colleges. Like they do point wise valuation. So if you kind of want to overcome that, and there is also a possibility that you study abroad in an MNC, and that MNC has a branch in India. So we work in that company for a few years in that country, and then you come back to India. So that is some things that people do. So it basically depends on the individual and the goals he has. You can plan.
Just to add on to that point, because I have gotten a lot of requests about how can I get a job abroad while studying in India. Okay, so for this question, guys, one thing which you guys would need to take into account is, if you're going to any other state, any other country and all, the government or the organization needs to give a justification to the government that we were not able to find the talent in that specific region, in a specific country, therefore we are going for international students, right? So it's anyways really tough to go get a job abroad after studying in India. It's not impossible. Again, obviously, if you have a really talented or if you have a really high credentials, then definitely it's possible. But then you can understand, as in India, you definitely being in India, you definitely understand what competition is. because you guys must have gone through JEE exams. You guys must be going through maybe CAT or GATE or some other exams as well, right? So you definitely know how is the competition in India. So if Indians ourselves are competing for international job, think about what other countries there, other like maybe Indonesian or maybe Africans or maybe Chinese are also competing for the same job, maybe in France or maybe in US, right? That is the kind of competition you would need to be prepared for, right?
Definitely. To kind of add on to this, so the company, if it is hiring from students which are not educated in the country, they have to give a kind of official documentation to the government that okay, they posted this job on the country's employment exchange for 3 months. They were not able to get compatible candidates. Then they considered international students who were in that country, even that were not satisfying. So that is when they went with that individual. So this kind of puts a lot of pressure on the company to like kind of justify taking someone from India. What I have seen is a lot of people who have very good experience come into the same country, I mean the same company. So if you let us say you are working in LTI in India and LTI has a project in Germany or Sweden, then it is very easy to make the switch within the company, going for onshore projects. Like a lot of Infosys people come to Ireland, go to US for onshore opportunities. So when you see people studying in India and going to work abroad, just check whether they are going in the same company. And then also it is that you need a very high level of skill to be considered for such openings.
Just one more question. What would be a genuine advice to be someone who is fresh off his class 12 and is just into his graduation and he wishes to, follow a path in management field, and so he has not gone for your typical BTech or something, like he's worked on his BBA and stuff. So what would be a genuine advice to those kind of candidates who won't?
Like the first advice I would give is that just work somewhere. It is like when you actually work in a role, that is when you actually understand the role. So now me being an engineer, I never thought that I would like accounting, and I never thought that I could actually work into it. But when I went into a retail company, I did some international accounting. Then I saw that there are various perspectives to the role. That it is not just bookkeeping. There is a lot of budgeting. There is a lot of compliance. There is a lot of planning which is going on, which is very strategic to a company's functioning. So when we are just after out of 12, not done any work in the fields, we just have this rosy pictures which we see from YouTube or from people who are working in the field. So people working in the same field don't always give you the complete picture. So maybe doing a paid, unpaid internship in that field will not only give you a perspective, but also develop your profile for doing further education. Like it works in both ways. Maybe you earn a lot.
Correct. Now, I add on to one point is a lot of students do give this excuse that I call it as excuse that my college or maybe my school was in kind of that region or that locality which didn't have that kind of opportunities available, right? But that is the kind of bubble in which the student is, right? So as you rightly mentioned about doing a paid or unpaid internship, so that would basically help them explore certain career paths which they were not able to, which they didn't had any idea about, right? Like
Right,
right now, I'm meeting people of 19 years of age doing crazy stuffs. Like
right, right.
people are doing NFTs at 19. One girl is doing at the age of 16 doing a Udemy course instructor about financial analysis. So people are doing some crazy stuffs, and just because you do not have that kind of exposure, do not basically gives you the kind of an excuse that
Exactly.
my like the opportunities were not available for me. The
Like
point
if you
being,
have internet connection, you have
correct,
opportunities. You are
correct,
just
absolutely,
like there are so many free certifications available. Google trains people to become an ad manager, handle analytics. There are sites like Fiverr which give you freelance work. If you want to work and if you are passionate about it, definitely you can find out opportunities. Like being in a college which is unsupportive, or being in an environment which is not like promoting higher education, is not an excuse you can give. So if you want to do it, you can always find out a way. That's what I believe. So yeah, that's my side, because I see a lot of students saying that no, my college is somewhere in the back of the village. We don't have a lot of, our professors are not interested, our seniors are not getting placement. So what do I do with my education? So that is where you see that okay, you have some free time, maybe learn some more skills. There are a lot of off-campus placements going on. You have competitive exams, or you can do a research publication, reach out to professors abroad, and sometimes they will fund your entire education to study there. So these are kind of some put-ins that students have to do. You have to put yourself out, you have to do some efforts, not with no guaranteed returns, when you don't know whether it will work. But if you don't put in that efforts, you will miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Okay, guys, if you have any questions, you can ask in the chat, or you can ask from everybody as well by unmuting yourself. Guys. And we have shared the form in the chat. So if you want to get on a free consultation call with us, you can just fill in the form and we'll reach out to you within 3 hours. So that's about it. I think we're at the closure of this session. It was very insightful, and it's always a pleasure to have you, parents, or both of you. You have been part of the family for so long that it feels like family. So yeah.
I always enjoy speaking to students and kind of bursting their bubbles. It has been fun with foreign admits meeting people who are just underconfident, and they don't actually know what their profile will be valued outside, and kind of helping them discover their career. So it's fun doing this.
Yes, and it's always great to help our students. It just feels good, it's a noble job as well, if I can say that. So,
this is the best kind of networking we can do, helping people.
Yeah, this is the best network you get actually. If somebody becomes a billionaire after 10 years, you can contact us.
That's true.
So maybe that would help us to voice our views even better, to reach out to more people. So yes, so thank you everyone for this wonderful session, and thank you Omkar for being with us, and it's really insightful on us. A lot of opinions that you shared are really uncommon, and I hope that helps all these students out there. And thank you Saurabh to take us time out of your busy schedule to be with us. And that's about it. So thank you everyone, and stay tuned with us, and we're coming with webinars every week now. So we have something more exciting scheduled for you next week as well. So thank you. Bye-bye.